come up and be aggressive. Yeah, we saw that last night against Jess Pegula. Out to the side, still making her shots. Let's get down as we walk these women onto the court. Pam Shriver. Pam.
Caroline, you've been playing such pressure offense tennis all summer long. How do you think that disrupts the opponent?
Yeah, that's what that's why I enjoy the most tennis, and I'm glad it's paying off, and I will continue like this.
It has about as much variety on the tour. How does that maybe going to disrupt you?
Yeah, it's a really great challenge, and that's why we practice every day, and we want to face new challenge, and hopefully I will be ready for tonight.
We're looking forward to this semifinal. Thanks so much. Of course, I'm got to the finals of Wimbledon, which
good. So
in the semifinals, what's it like competing against somebody who 12 years ago you were playing matches in the juniors against?
That shows really hard work is paying off. You know, both are here. We play the semifinals in juniors, and it's nice to be at the US Open here. So I wish the luck for both of us.
Crowd's still finally in the Yankee Stadium for the final game of this 4-game set, and then big week coming up in the stadium.
Good to go, Ryan?
I'm good. Not too loud, right? I'm not too loud, man.
You're a little too low, but
low and loud. Loud?
Yeah, can you turn off the TV? Can you mute the television?
My Yankees, all these sports, so hold on. How's that?
I would like you to mute the television. Like no sound.
The television is already mute. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but
lower. Loud?
Yeah, can you turn off the TV? Can you mute the television?
Whose television?
Yeah. So you good to go?
Correct. I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. All right.
Another WNBA Finals appearance for the Las Vegas Aces after those last 2 wins in Seattle. As I welcome to this episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk, Rafique, Louison, Ryan Walker. How about the Aces as they're back in the WNBA Finals for the second time in 3 years and about like nearly the third time in franchise history? Yes, the appearance with the San Antonio Superstars counts. What are your impressions?
I mean, we talked about it off the air. Vegas look good. Chicago was my pick to go win it all, and they got their big game 5 tonight, right? With Chicago and Connecticut. So hopefully I'll be right with that end of the pick with Chicago getting in. At Chicago winning the whole thing, but man, I just keep watching. There's more of these games I watch with the Aces. They're just really deep. They got Gray, who plays so well, a big shot maker, can dribble, create for others, defend. Asia Wilson is a low down low. She's a 20, 10 walking, 30, 15, 20 walking machine. On top of their role players, they're well coached. They look good. Chicago is gonna have to, if Chicago wins, cannot counting out Connecticut, because Connecticut is in a do or die situation with them too. But if Chicago were to be victorious, I don't think it would be good for them to lose the game once like they did against New York Liberty and also against the Connecticut Sun. This Vegas team is a little bit more stronger, more poised, more hungrier. We also talked about that too, no discredit to her, but clearly a little bit better without Liz Cambridge as a collective team and a unit. And they look like they're poised to win it all. I ain't gonna lie, man. They really do. But it still would be a good series no matter what. I think Chicago would be the better test. Even though, like I said, no discredit to Connecticut. Connecticut got some girls on that plane for me that can score. But them taking out Seattle, and Seattle's a really good team with Brianna and Super at the end of her career. She went out in a good way per se. She didn't want to lose, but they made sure she went out in the right way. Vegas, they look like they might be the next WNBA champions.
Yeah, without question. And unlike the 2020 WNBA Wobble season, this Aces team, well, actually, they're without Liz Cambage during that year as well. But the only difference is they got blasted by the Seattle Storm. This time around, they literally need just 4 games in a couple. And well, the wins were close, but that's how you know the Aces have grown up a lot since that loss.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Different. Some of the same pieces, but a different team. The whole different team, whole different approach, and they're in a couple of days and over the next week span or so, they'll have an opportunity to prove that they can be the 22 WNBA champions.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, we led by Asia Wilson, who won her second WNBA MVP, which is no surprising. But another big surprise is Jackie Young being the most improved player. Now, as well as however long you've been following Jackie Young's basketball career, like, what are your overall impressions about the way that her game has evolved during the first few seasons in the W?
Well, she's another one of that kind of dug herself in the mud. Always being written off, always being saying something that you can't do, and she's got a super role in the Vegas team. That's why she was fortunate enough to win the most improved player. Like I said, they're like 8 or 9 deep. They got when I watch them, they don't. Everybody that subs in you're not losing anything on the basketball court. They all play their roles. They all do it the right way, and they're really hungry. So all those accolades that this team has individually levied up throughout this season is not an aberration. They're a really good team, and as I said, they got me eye test thinking that they're going to be the WNBA champions.
Yeah, let's just hope that the eye test is right this time, because let's face it, the only real competition the Aces have is the Chicago Sky. But then again, they did blast them in the Commissioner's Cup, which doesn't really mean anything. But it means a lot more. You may not get that elusive WNBA Finals matchup with the Sky and the Aces after all. It means a lot more blast the WNBA Finals as opposed to just a 1-game consolation trophy known as the Commissioner's Cup, which is also in Chicago. So, yeah.
And so now that might, like you said, end up to be something big, in regards to individually with them. The defending champions against the so far the best team in the regular season and the playoffs so far, the Las Vegas Aces, and the team who beat you in the Commissioner's Cup earlier this year. So now they're the champions for their conference this year, and now Chicago gets there. I mean, that's just the battle of David and Goliath. And they'll just have to see how that one ends up. So that now, and see, that won't always happen with the Commissioner's Cup, because I won't say that's serendipity, but there's no way that every year that Commissioner's Cup will matriculate to it going to the finals. It might not even happen this year. So it does happen like that, where the 2 participants in that game end up being the teams in the WNBA Finals, then that could mean something, and that'll be another big test for Chicago to see if, like I said, hey, listen, last year I wasn't wrong too. I went out and picked Chicago last year in the first round early. We had shows on that, you know what I mean? And stuck with them as the buzzsaw pick. So I still going to stick with them as my pick, and it's been working out. Even, listen, went against my grain with the Liberty and said, hey, Chicago going to win. The second round, still, hey, let's see. If they get out, they get in. The champs are back in. They've completed 3/4 of the mission they talked about, which, they wanted to have a better regular season compared to their championship regular season last year, and get back to this point right here. So if they do that, that's 3/4 of the goal, but they'll have to dig into that championship season last year, finals, and some more to be able to beat this Vegas 3 times. You have to beat that Vegas team.
Yep, 3 times without any question. And you know what? this Chicago, we're talking about the Chicago Sky team that came back from 26-point deficit to defeat the Aces in the regular season. But that's just regular season. Can you do that in a playoff series? Well, we know the Chicago Sky could win a championship. I mean, during the middle, even with that 5-game test against the Connecticut Sun team, that's more hungry to take out the Chicago Sky than they were last year. Well, after they split the games in Connecticut, they went to Chicago, and the game 3 was close. We talked about game 3 of last year's semifinals. Game 4, they just ran out of gas. The only difference is this year they're without Jasmine Thomas.
Game 5 tonight in a couple of minutes. A lot of good sports on tonight. U.S. Open on right now. Phenomenal tennis. Yankees and Mets still in heat and hot races at the end of the year. So a lot of this stuff is on good TV on sports right now. A lot of races, and NFL season starts tonight too. So that's pretty phenomenal. So
yeah, and you know what? While we're on the subject of the NFL season, tonight it'll be the Buffalo Bills going up against the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, will you evaluate these two teams? You had the Rams that could make it back to the Super Bowl, and the Buffalo Bills that many people are saying that they might be back. I mean, you're led by Josh Allen. You picked up Von Miller, who's an incredible defensive man. Thoughts?
I mean, the championship night from the Rams, so they'll have their ring ceremony and the banner put up, so they'll be a flight line. This is going to be a good game. Buffalo's a solid team from last year. A lot of the core and foundation that built Buffalo is now, fortunately, on the New York Giants with our coach Brian DeBold and their general manager and a couple other pieces. We even had a few players, but Buffalo still has a good core over there on top of Josh Allen, who, I mean, now we'll see how he is without the tutelage of those guys, but I mean, his talent and hopefully his he's savvy enough to, without the leadership, because quarterbacks throughout, good quarterbacks in the NFL is not going to have the same coordinators and same coaches all the time, and you're going to have to make adjustments and do on and so forth. So now we'll see how he does without those guys, but he's got the talent, he's got the skill set. He's 6'5", he's got a big arm. He's coming off an MVP season, right, or something of those realms. Or he's Josh Allen can play. He's got the targets. They have a solid defense. They play in a region that when it's very cold, you're not really friendly to want to go out and play football. And it's not like the AFC East is powered by Tom Brady and the New England Patriots anymore. They have a good young core, but it's still up to the grabs. The Jets are young and upcoming. Their season can go any type of way. And Miami is very solid too. Let's see how they bounce back. They have a good defense. They have Tua. Let's see how that works.
Not to mention
Tyreek
Hill for the Kansas City Chiefs, who took out Buffalo in the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Right. So now you look at that dimension. So you look at it that Buffalo should have a chance to win that division again, and nevertheless, this game is going to be big because I don't want to say Buffalo is better than the Rams. I don't want to say that. Because Rams are the champion. This is a different season. Rams are the champion. Rams are good. We know what they got over there. Stafford come back. We know. But it'll be up to Buffalo to prove. Buffalo's beaten some really good teams with the same core over the last 2 years. And I mean, at one point, I think 1 year Buffalo was maybe like one round away from the bowl, right? Or something like that. Or so,
yeah, 2 years ago, they were one round away from the Super Bowl, but they lost to Kansas City.
Right.
Literally.
You know what I mean? They got
there was that one misplay, and part of it was that one misplay that you talked about where Kansas City, where they missed the catch.
Right, exactly, 100%.
This Buffalo team is well established. They've grown up a lot in these past few years.
Right.
Again, Josh Allen's gonna probably give you like 400, 500 passing yards per game. You got the right receiver core around him. So let's see how that works out. They got the Rams and also a good start by winning tonight.
Right, they got the Rams by 6.5. So they think the Rams win by a touchdown. I don't think they're gonna beat Buffalo by a touchdown. I think they'll beat Buffalo maybe by like 3. Or I think Buffalo might win this football game quietly. They could start the champs off 0-1 because they have the offense and defense to do it. They might want to play spoiler tonight, but they're definitely not going to lose by a touchdown. That's a bunch of crap.
Exactly, because seriously, you got two teams on a hot day that can blow teams out of the water. But it's just a matter of who's going to get the strong start. Whoever gets a strong start, they could end up being the one winning this game. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, on to another topic. Well, the Mets, they've coughed up the division lead, but they are leading by half a game, but they allowed the Atlanta Braves to come back and tie the division after leading it by as many as 10.5 games. Again, I know they have the lead by half a game, but should the Mets fans be worried? I mean, we have 4 weeks up this season. They played the Braves nearly the second to last week of the season on the road for a 3-game set. So, thoughts?
Well, it's not like I'm not gonna sit here and act like the Yankees played the most splendidest baseball in August, because they actually played the most horrific baseball in the history of it in August, when they were like 8-17 and
They were
and
10 in
struggled.
the month of August. They allowed the Tampa Bay Rays to get within as close as 4 games. They did manage to win the series against the Minnesota Twins to get some breathing room, but they're going to have the Tampa Bay Rays to put up with, and they're on like a 5 or 6 game winning streak. So
at least we still have a 2-series lead. We're trying to keep that pace, and we have Tampa Bay coming in. Hopefully they beat Minnesota tonight, which they own Minnesota over the last decade and 20 years, actually, really honestly. If they can get Minnesota tonight and get 2 out of 3 back from Tampa Bay with losing 2 out of 3 in their home earlier this week, then that's a little bit more comfort, as they're starting to work out some injuries too. Luis Severino's going to start having starts again, eventually in Double-A to get his self back. We've had LeMahieu sit out a little while. He was in a little slump anyway with the toe thing going on there. Rizzo had to go out because of some headaches after coming back from injury, but he was in a little bit of slump, so we're giving him time to come back. So there's a lot of guys that are, Stanton just came back from the DL, and it's taking him time to get back into his groove, so he's struggling a little bit well too. So I mean, like, thank God for Aaron Judge, even though we had other guys that are just making sure they stay tuned. And thank God for the start they had at the beginning of the year. I mean, but
exactly.
On top of that, with the start and with Aaron Judge, who's just playing baseball in a whole different atmosphere, that's giving us a little bit, and it's still not nice, still not comfortable it is, but it's better than half. And I tell you this much, I said this before. I said, they don't, yeah. I wish I could like the Mets. I really wish I could. Like, I don't hate the Mets. I do not hate the Mets. I actually like the Mets baseball team. I just don't like the fan base, because they are absolutely some of the prisoners of their moment in the world of everything. I said, you're hackling us so much. You're in a division where you should have blown away a lead. It should be like the Dodgers. Like, the Dodgers are up 19 and a half in their division.
19 and a half,
okay?
20.
All right. They should have blown this division away, so that even if they would have fell into a rut, they still would have been up like 10 or 12 games. But no, they coasted, and they won the World Series in April and May. I've never seen a team win the World Series more in April, May, and June than the New York Mets. The New York Mets are the undisputed World Series champions of April, May, and June. Okay? And then after that, everything starts to change a little bit. They're still in first place. They're still up having, and there's plenty of time. They have the easiest part of the stretch of the schedule between them and the Braves.
Yes.
Right. But the biggest thing is, let's just get this out right here on plain flat earth. The Mets are not going anywhere, and the Braves are not going nowhere. The Mets are actually in a little bit worse situation, not because they're up half a game, but because of the injuries that's going on. Scherzer has to
he's gonna miss 1 or 2 starts.
Right. And that's really probably an older pitcher that you're just giving a little bit more extra rest to. 100%. DeGrom's been there solid, but they have other injuries going on in their lineup as well too, and throughout the pitching staff. So their health is the key part of it. They'll keep order. There's talent. Alonso will keep them things through. They have pitching. DeGrom is pitching solid. We know he's the best pitcher in baseball. But Atlanta is really good, and they're damn hot. And not only is that, they're the world champions. Quite honestly, the Braves have more depth and talent, I presume, on their team in the National League. But honestly, the Atlanta Braves might be the best team in the National League. They're the world champions. They're damn good. They know how to win in all types of crucial situations. They did that last year, right? They're not going anywhere, and they're loaded with that young core, they good talent. So that team's not going nowhere, and they got good pitching. That last series in Atlanta, somebody gonna cry that series. But they're lucky if the team just stay on their pace. 2 teams should get in from that division anyway. 1 team better be a wild card. Mathematically, 1 team should be a wild card from that team, from that division.
The second place team in the NL East division is leading by 11.5 games. You're guaranteed a playoff spot no matter what. It's just a matter of will the Mets avoid the wild card round, or will they regress to that point? I mean, they did. I mean, well, I remember at the beginning of the season, you told me about a fan that you said that you're not fighting with all season long. We're not doing it this year.
Yeah,
when I was talking about the home run, when I was talking about the combined no hitter that the Mets had against the Philadelphia Phillies, and look what, and I bet you I know he's going to be feeling at least somewhat nervous now that the Braves have at the very least tied the series up at one point this week, even though the Mets got back to the division lead by half a game. He's still probably thinking they're going to make it to the World Series, since you know you're either going to get in a wild card or the NL East.
I pray and hope, for the sake of every Mets fan in New York, that in the next 2.5 weeks they don't continue to falter, and that lead, the Braves end up having like a 3.5, 4-game lead. It's going to be over. It'll be an absolute nightmare for the Mets. They'll be reliving 2007 and reliving 2008.
Don't remind me about that. You want to buy his man 7.5 games in 2 weeks? Nah, man, don't do that. Don't do that.
Every basketball season, he breaks my chops. Brooklyn Nets kick the Knicks' butt. Brooklyn Nets, Brooklyn Nets, Brooklyn Nets, Brooklyn Nets, Brooklyn Nets. Oh, you Duke lost to North Carolina. The last game ever, they roasted and killed me. And the one time that I brought up that, all right, listen, they better just stay afloat. Because that's what's going to start reliving in the fans' mind state. Because this team is so that years ago team. None of these guys, some of those guys really probably don't even know what the hell it is. They're probably hearing about it more now as younger cats on this team. Like, yo, don't do this because remember this, you know what I'm saying, such and such. And you're like, what? You're like, we're not that team. Well, yeah, remember, it's still the organization. So at the end of the day, we'll text after the show and see what the scores are. U.S. Open's on now, Garcia and Jabber. We'll see what the Mets look like a little bit later. Okay.
Yeah, they would. I mean, they got a 3-game set in Miami. Well, they should at least win that series because Miami sucks. After that, they got homestand, which features the Chicago Cubs and the same Pittsburgh Pirates, the team that the Mets blasted in the doubleheader last night. So it's like
they demolished them, which they gave better.
They should have demolished the Pirates. The Pirates are not that good. The worst sports team down in Pittsburgh. Whatever.
Are the Mets off tonight?
Yeah, the Mets are off tonight, but the Yankees, they got the Minnesota Twins. But all I can say is, if I'm an Atlanta Braves fan, I wouldn't say that I win the division just yet, just because they came out to tie the division and like to tie the division, because it's like this is what baseball's all about. You said it best. There's 162 games. 162 games.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're gonna have to now. Look, this is their time where they're starting to play bad baseball. And it happens, no matter how good of a baseball team, even throughout the teams that had 100 plus something wins, you don't go through these times and don't have, your declines in the season. Let's just see how they bounce back from adversity. This will tell the tale of how far they will go.
The Mets and Braves have not had a losing streak of any longer than 3 games.
Right.
And part of what made the Braves this good at this point of the season was that whole May and June where they won like 16 or 17 in a row.
Yeah.
They
put themselves back in position with that.
And not to mention, well, sticking to recent, they beaten up on the Oakland Athletics. They did what the Houston Astros could not do. Beat up the Oakland Athletics on the road.
Yeah. Listen, taking care of business.
Yeah. This is going to be very interesting as we get to the final month of the season. I can't wait to talk about it. Now, I know you were at the U.S. Open. What were your overall impressions of the U.S. Open when you went there earlier this week?
Just phenomenal. Just a phenomenal environment. Phenomenal. It was just, phenomenal. It's a good matches, and it's good to see Tiafoe won again last night. First Black American star. First Black American tennis player to reach the semifinals of the U.S. Open since 1972.
Yeah, I saw that. That was incredible.
And this is Arthur Ashe we're talking about here. So this is just phenomenal what this young man is doing by the Baltimore, Maryland parents of from Sierra Leone. So the U.S. Open this year has been phenomenal. Serena had a heck of a ride, gave New York a heck of a way to go. We wish we could have got maybe 2 more games in these. One more game would have been cool. But listen, she played very well, and the young ladies of the world, the Coco Golf.
Yeah. Not to mention the elder lady that took out Serena in the 3rd round. Well,
right.
It's not like as if Serena didn't give it her all. I mean, when I saw that she was down to the very last breath, she kept fighting and stayed in the competition as long as she could until she couldn't stay in it no more.
Yeah, she played well. It was just the fact that the other young lady played better than her that day. There were some errors that Serena made that day as well too. But honestly, as a big Serena fan and a tennis fan, I can tell you that definitely over the last 3 to 4 years, you can see as great as she is and dominant as she is, you can see some of the deficiencies starting to happen in the game. And then you can see that the other young ladies were up and coming, and they would catch her sometimes. There's some really good the Coco Gauffs, the Kiki Vanderways, the Sloane Stephens when she comes back healthy, the young lady that's playing tonight is really good. Naomi Osaka is really good. You know what I mean? There are a lot of players that are young and upcoming that are really, really good. And the young ladies playing tonight is the first South African player, I believe, to reach the semi or the quarterfinals in the history of the U.S. Open. So, hold on. So, okay, somebody just hit a home run? Yeah, I think that's Miguel Andújar with a 2-run shot. But the U.S. Open is a phenomenal event. I think, like I said, I think it's the best tournament in the world yearly. Yearly, that 2-week extravaganza of tennis is phenomenal. So we've seen a lot of great things there. Serena's final ride. We've seen a lot of the young players there go out early, but still see some good tennis. This young American star that's doing good, and they still have a couple of days. Rafael Nadal lost early. No more Andy Murray. A lot of the stars didn't get in there and compete, and now some other guys are getting their chance. Medvedev lost. Did Medvedev lost? I believe Medvedev lost.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrgios lost his gasket last night, broke his bracket 322 times. Take your butt home, buddy. Take your anger home with you. All right. So listen, it's been phenomenal. It's great, and the Yankees are 2-0 now. Miguel Andújar. I wish we could play the Twins 162 times.
Yeah, I know. Like the Yankees, they own the Minnesota Twins. But to get back to the discussion of tennis, well, I said in the post that we would talk about Serena Williams' last ever tennis match in her illustrious career. Like,
Mhm.
when you watch that entire final match that Serena Williams had against Asia from Australia, like, what went through your mind from the beginning to end?
I was hoping, for like I say, for fans' sake, you wanted to see her try to see if she could win the title. But like I said, she didn't play her. She played well, but not well enough to win that day. And like I said, Serena's been through so much in the last few years. With, games slowing down, and then going through motherhood and having a baby, and stopping tennis for a while for that, and then spending time with the baby, and then recovering and doing what you do, and getting back in shape, and coming back to tennis and playing at a high level. It takes a toll. And then the COVID year, and then there's a lot of different things that occurred, and it is what it is. She's still going out on a great note. The greatest women's tennis player to me in the history of women's tennis, one of the greatest players as a tennis player in the history of tennis, and the second most Grand Slams in the history for a woman. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but that gold medal winners, singles and double gold medal winners. So
Yeah, she did it. She gave it all she had. Well, that concludes the episode. Nothing but that sports talk. Thank you for stopping by, Ryan Walker. And to all the balls out there, get your head in the game.